Okay, so 14, we have 2uv squared over 2u to the 0 v squared times 2u to the 3rd v squared. Okay, so there's lots of different ways you can start this. You can do things differently. Somebody tell me what you would do first, right here. Aiden? Like this 2 on top and this 2 on bottom? I can do that. I can just cancel those out, because if I've got 1 on top and 1 on bottom, 2 divided by 2 is 1. It's going to go away. So those 2 right there, you're just marking them out. Okay? I'm gonna rewrite and then go on. If you don't, that's okay. But I'm gonna rewrite and then go on so everybody's following. So Aiden's finding things that match on top and bottom, and he's canceling those out. So that's a good way to approach this problem. Also, he told me that this right here just equals 1, right? So that means I'm gonna have u over, since this is just 1 times this stuff, you don't really have to write that 1 right there. And I've got 2u to the 3rd v squared. Okay? So then, Aiden, what would we do after that? Okay, good. So, like, this is u to the 1st power. I can subtract those, which will cancel one of these u's with one of these in the bottom. So if I subtract them, 3 minus 1 will give me 2. That's going to go in the bottom because there's more u's in the bottom, right? It's got to go wherever there's more u's. The v squared stays down here as well. You cannot have just an empty numerator there. You got to have something, so whenever everything is canceled out, you're going to put a 1 there. And so at this point, you only have a single u, a single v. There's no numbers that you could combine together or reduce, so this would be your answer. I like the way Aiden went about that, because if you got something on top and bottom, then you can cancel those out as long as they're multiplied, as long as everything's multiplied together. So that kind of, you don't even have to worry about it there. But you could do this differently. You could combine everything in the bottom first and then worry about the top and bottom. Also, that would also work. Okay, questions? All right, let's try to help you guys with the ones that look difficult. So let's just let Aiden, which one do you think looks difficult? Which one? 11. All right, so 11 is 3yx squared. If you could, I'll send you an email. We're definitely going to finish this worksheet. Delta Math may be up in the air. I'll let you know. I'll send you an email about it. Oops, sorry. Cubed over 4x squared y to the 0 times 3x squared y to the 3rd. So there's a few things we could do like Aiden did before. We could cancel those 3's if we wanted to, because there's 1 on top and 1 on bottom. But let's take a different approach than we did last time, just so you see some different approaches. Let's try to put all this stuff in the bottom together first. So the 4 and the 3, I'm going to multiply those together and get 12. I've got 2 x's here, 2 more here. That's going to be x to the 4th. I got 0 x's here and 3 here, so that's going to be y to the 3rd. I'm just working right now, so the numerator right here is going to stay the same, 3y x to the 3rd. So right now, I'm not worried. I'm just taking this stuff that's in the bottom and I'm putting it together. Okay, this is not the only way to approach the problem. Like you could cancel stuff or move stuff first, but I'm just looking at, I've got this 4 and 3, so I multiplied those together. I've got 2 x's here, 2 x's here, so that's 4 total in the bottom, and I've got 0 and 3, so that gives me 3 total in the bottom. So I was just kind of only working on the bottom there. Then, now I'm going to think about top and bottom, and think about that. So, whenever you have coefficients, you just want to reduce those. So 3/12, what does that reduce to? 4 on the bottom. What on top? Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, 1. We may or may not need that 1 in the top there. Then I'm going to look at my x's and my y's separately. So when I've got division, I want to subtract. So for my x's, I do 4 minus 3. It would give me 1. Where should I put that x? In the top or the bottom? Bottom, because there's more x's in the bottom. There's 4 x's in the bottom, only 3 in the top. So the leftovers will end up in the bottom. And then for my y's, I've got 1 and 3. So if 3 minus 1 is 2, where do those go? Top or bottom? Also in the bottom. So I'll have y squared there in the bottom. Nothing is left in the top except for that 1, so you do have to have that 1 there. And that would be our answer. All right, somebody else give me one you think looks difficult. Which one? 9. Okay. For 9, we've got 4v to the 0 over negative 2u. What? Well, I cannot combine the v and the u because they are not the same variable. But this is v to the 0. What is v to the 0? 1. So this is really on the top just 4 times 1 over negative 2u, which is just 4 over negative 2u. I also need to think about these coefficients, my big numbers. Would they reduce if I have 4 over 2? What would I get? 2. Does the 2 go in the top or the bottom? Top. So 2 over negative u. I still have that negative right there. When we have a negative in a fraction, you can write it like I have it written here. Or you can write it like this, negative 2 over u. Or if you wanted, you could write it as negative 2 over u. The negative can go in the bottom, in the top, or just out front. You just can't put it in both places. It can't be top and bottom because negative divided by negative would give you a positive. This is the most standard answer for you to see, where they take the negative and write it out front, like that. Okay. Lanaya, which one did you say? 13. Let's look at it. I've got y x to the 0 times 2x to the 4th y to the 3rd over 3x to the 4th y squared x. Okay. Times x. Thank you. All right, so what I would probably do for this one is a lot like we did for the one before that. Is I would work on just the top, putting everything together, and just the bottom, and putting everything together. And then I would worry about dividing. So in the top, usually we put our numbers first. So I'm going to put that 2 first. How many x's do I have in the top? I have 2. One of them has an exponent of 0, the other of 4. What do I do with those exponents? Add them together. 0 plus 4 will give me 4 right there. Then I have some y's in the top. We got 2 of those. My exponent for the first one, what is it? It's y right here. What's its exponent? 1. Then this one over here has a 3. So how many y's am I going to end up with over here? 4. Okay, so all I'm doing there is just combining my numerator together. Then I'm going to do the same thing in the denominator. There's not much to put together here. The 3 is just going to kind of hang out there. How many x's should I have when I put those x's together? I'll get 5 because that x right there is to the first power. We've got to add those together, and then we'll get y squared. Okay. Will 2/3 reduce? It will not. So I'm just going to leave it alone. X's, I want to subtract. 5 minus 4 gives me 1. Where should I put that x? Top or bottom? Bottom, because there's more x's there. 4 minus 2 gives me 2. Where should I put those y's? Top or bottom? Top. So I'll get y squared there. And so that would be my answer. Let's go to that last page. Let's do 19. 19 looks a little frightening. Okay. So for 19, what do you guys think? What do you want to do first? What? That's a good idea. Cancel out this 2 with this 2. There's one on top and bottom, so I could cancel that out. That would be helpful. What do you think, Aiden? Okay. So Aiden is saying, since I got 2 y's right here, I could like take away 2 y's from one of these on the bottom, which works out pretty well there. Or if you would like, you could go ahead and combine the bottom and then do that. It's up to you. So Aiden's saying, since I've got 2 y's up here, I'm going to do like maybe, let's say I'm looking at this last y right here. It really doesn't matter which one you take it away from. If I'm looking at that last y, I would take away 2 of those y's, so now I just would have y to the 1 right there. So that is a possibility, which if I do that is going to leave me on top. I just have a 1 on the bottom. I've got x. How many x's do I have? Got 2. I'm going to put those together. What do I get? X to the 5th. And then y. When I put all of those y's together, when I put their exponents together, what do I have? Y to what power? 9. So it looks like this. Okay. Then what do I do with this square right here? What have I got to do? I multiply my exponents, and my coefficients, I just raise them to that power, right? So I'm going to be squaring 1, so I'll get 1 squared over, and then I've got x to the 10th, y to the 18th. But what is 1 squared? It's just 1. So 1 over x to the 10th, y to the 18th. while we're in the neighborhood, let's do 20. Okay, now, Aiden, on this one, can I mark out y's on top and bottom? I cannot. Why can I not, like, mark out that y to the third and the y to the third on the bottom? Very good. This is being raised to the fourth power, so I can't just mark those out like I did up here, right? Because here I just had a fraction. The exponent was actually out here on the outside, so I could work on this inside stuff inside of the parentheses. I can't do that here. So what I would probably do for this one is work on putting the numerator together and simplifying the denominator as well. And then I can worry about subtracting those. So I've got 1x right here and x squared right here. And so that's going to be x to the third power. And I've got y to the fourth and y to the third, which will give me y to the seventh on top. With this 4 right here for my exponent, I need to raise everything here to the fourth power. When I do 2 to the fourth power, what am I going to get? No. It seems like it should be 8. It is not. But what you're doing there is you're doing 2 to the fourth power, which is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. It's going to be 16. And then I'll get x to what power? 16. We got to multiply here. Powers to powers, we multiply. And then y to the 12th. So for your coefficients, you're doing 2 raised to that actual power. You can also think like your exponent here was 1. So you did 1 times 4, which gave you 2 to the fourth, and then you have to figure out what that is, right? So the last thing we need to do is subtract. So Evan, when I subtract for my x's, how many am I going to get? 13. Where do they go, top or bottom? So we got 13 x's down here on the bottom. What about my y's? Got 5, top or bottom? Bottom. And there's nothing in the top, so we have to put a 1 there. And that would be our answer there. Okay, questions? Which one? 21? Oh, easy peasy. Easiest one on the whole page. What does it equal? 21. It's just 1. You don't have to mess with any of that stuff on the inside because it's to the 0 power. It's just 1. If it wasn't the 0 power, you'd do it kind of like we did up here on number 19. You'd simplify what's on the inside first, and then you can raise everything to that power. But since it's 0, you can just automatically say 1. There, you don't have to do any work on that one. Alrighty. Okay, so I want you guys to finish doing this worksheet. If you get it all the way finished, I want you to bring it to me so I can check it. And then if you get all of that done, you're going to work on your Delta Math, the second Delta Math. Well, or if you never finish the first one, finish it. The first Delta Math needs to be done by tomorrow for sure. This worksheet needs to be done by tomorrow for sure. Those 2 things are going to be homework. The second Delta Math I haven't made my mind up on yet. If you guys are working really hard for this last 23 minutes of class, then I feel like we could hold off on our second Delta Math and work on it at the beginning of class like we did today. So